Good morning, student. Today we are going to start with the third lesson of history syllabus, that is India and European colonialism. In the last lesson, we learnt about the European colonialism and its impact on the world history. Now in this lesson, we are going to learn about the spread of colonialism in India and its impact. So while learning this, we have to focus on the arrival of Portuguese, British, Dutch and French in India. So first we'll start with the Portuguese. Now all we heard the name of Vasco da Gama. You have heard this name in the first chapter of history also. He is one of the major sea explorer. Vasco da Gama, he was a Portuguese nobleman, was born around 1460, and he sailed from the Lisbon on July 8, 1497 with a crew of 170 men. He arrived at Calicut on May 20, 1498. Vasco da Gama, he set sail on the first European journey to India. More than 500 years ago on the day of 8 July. On his journey, he made stop at Mozambique, Mombasa and Malindi, which are in Africa. His journey opened the first all-water trade route between Europe and Asia. Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese sea explorer, he reached the port of Calicut in the year 1498. And when he landed on the Indian coast, so it did not take a long time to establish the control of Portuguese in India. In the 16th century, Portuguese had brought a considerable portion of the Indian coast under their control. And that was the starting of the Portuguese to conquer the India's land. Now this was the period when there was the strained relations among the rulers in the South India, and the Portuguese, they took the advantage of this relationship. They established their colonies on the western coast and built the forts for their protection and used them to protect their colonies from the external attack and to reinforce them continuously with the supplies by using seaways. So what Portuguese they did, when there was bad relations among the various rulers in the South India, so these Portuguese, they established their colonies on the western coast of India, as well as they built the forts for their protection from the external attack, and they were continuously supplying the reinforce by using the seaway. Now these Portuguese, they had a strong naval force. They used to launch the sudden attacks on their enemy territory from the sea and wreck it completely. Now here we can see that the Indian local rulers, they could not match the Portuguese in their war tactics because they were very strong. They were having a strong naval support. After some time, these Portuguese, they established their control on the Indian Ocean, and now it became essential for the Indian rulers to get a license which was called as the Kartas from them for sailing on the Indian Ocean. Okay, now here you can see what is mean by Kartaj. Kartaj was a naval trade license for or pass issued by the Portuguese in the Indian Ocean during the 16th century under the rule of the Portuguese Empire. So this Kartaj licensing system was created in 1502 to control and enforce the Portuguese trade monopoly over a wide sea in the Indian Ocean. Because the Portuguese, they wanted to establish their monopoly over the Indian Ocean. So they made it essential that everybody should take this Kartaj, then only they could do the trade, they could sail their ships in the Indian Ocean. So taking advantage of the local commerce, the Kartaj was issued by the Portuguese at the low cost and granting merchant ship protection against pirates and the rival state, which then abounded in these seas. Actually, the main purpose was to ensure that the merchants paid the tax in Portuguese trading post and guaranteeing its monopoly on the spice trade and the other products. And officially no vessel was permitted by the Portuguese to sail in the Indian coast without this document, risking losing their cargo, being attacked and even sunk by the Portuguese. Means suppose if the people they are going to sail their boats, their ships without this Kartaj, so that time the Portuguese they used to attack on their ships, either even sunk, the ships were sunk by the Portuguese and mainly Muslim Hindu and the Malay merchant ships. Every year during the monsoon, Portuguese fleets patrol the coast requiring this document. Later, as Portuguese lost influence, the issue of the Kartaj becomes in itself an important source of income for the crown. So here we can see that if the local rulers they dare to sail their boat in the sea without a Portuguese license, so that time the ships were either seized or sunk by the Portuguese force. Portuguese they had become so much powerful that even the mighty Mughals and the Sultanates in the south had to buy a license from them. Near about 1600, the Portuguese had their colonies on the western coast of India at Diu, Daman, Goa, Kannu, Mangalore, Kollam, Kochi, etc. In the eastern coast also they had their colonies at Nagapattinam, Milapur and Hooghly in Bengal. This stage of the Portuguese Empire had its capital at Goa. Now the Portuguese colonies had spread from Cape of Good Hope from Africa to Macau in China. And wherever they established their colonies, all this part were considered to be the part of the Indian Empire of the Portuguese, which was known as the Estado da India. Now here is the information about the Portuguese Estado da India. This name was used for those parts of India which were under the Portuguese rule from 1505 to December 1961. Portuguese India consisted of the several isolated tracts. The territory of Goa with the capital, a considerable area in the middle west coast of India, Daman with the separated territories of Dadra and Nagar Haveli, north of Mumbai and lying between the Indian state of Maharashtra and Gujarat, Div with the Panikota island on the southern coast of the Kathiawar peninsula in Gujarat state. So all these states were under the Portuguese control, which was known as the Estado da India, means the parts of India which were under the Portuguese rule. To control these colonies, Portuguese they appointed several officers for the different posts and for 3 years tenure period. Tenure period means the working period. In 17th century, 5 ships were used to arrive every year in India, and these ships were equipped with the cannons. Cannons means the holy books, Bible books. Portuguese they had their shipbuilding centers in Goa, Diu, Daman. Durable teak wood of best quality, essential things which were needed for the building of ships, all things were available in this region. Shipbuilding was an essential element in the creation of the overseas empire. It generated demand for the raw materials, technology and the manpower. In many cases received direct support from the state. The Portuguese shipbuilding industry enjoyed various incentives from the king, but was always a mix between the state and the private enterprise. With Portugal expanding, overseas building and repairing ship in the various Portuguese possessions became an option. Now in this case the Portuguese what they were used to do, they were used to bring the seamen from the Portugal to India, and that time the Indian rulers they did not had that much strong naval force, and that's why they found it difficult to fight against the strong naval forces of the Portuguese. Here only we can take the exception, and that exception is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, who had built his own navy. So only the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj he had his strong naval force. The Dutch and the British defeated the Portuguese naval forces in the 17th century in the sea battles. Okay, now in the next part we are going to talk about the impacts of this colonialism. Now when the Portuguese they establish their control over the sea coast of India, so that time the Portuguese they prohibited to build any religious monuments except churches. So they gave the permission to build only the churches in the Indian provinces under their rule, but rest of the monuments, religious monuments were not allowed to build, like temple, masjid, gurudwara and so on. As well as they prohibited celebrations of the religious festivals. So celebrations of the festivals were not allowed, or wedding functions as well were not allowed. So here we can see that the Portuguese they not only control on the land of India, but they also control on the individual's life, because building religious monuments were not allowed, as well as celebration of any religious festival were not allowed, as well as the wedding functions were not allowed. Not only this, but also the Portuguese rulers they also tried to end the local language. They forced the people to learn the Portuguese language. When the Portuguese they appointed people for the different works. So that time the intention was to convert them into the Christianity, and here the Portuguese, they forced the people to convert their religion into the Christianity. In the beginning of their rule, they made Goa a free port that resulted in attracting traders from the various countries to Goa.